Hello, and welcome back to Passages 22 YouTube channel. Today we are looking at the book Manifest Your Destiny, the 9 Spiritual Principles for Getting Everything You Want by Wayne W. Dyer. We have been directed to page 83 for our passage for today. This passage is entitled Unbonding Yourself from Your Past Wounds. The inclination to bond to our wounds rather than move past them traps us in a constant state of feeling unworthy. A person who has experienced traumatic events in life, such as sexual abuse, the death of loved ones, traumatic illnesses, accidents, family disruption, drug addictions, and the like, can become bonded to the past painful events and replay them for attention or pity. These wounds of our lives can seem to give us an enormous amount of power over others. The more we tell others about our wounds and our suffering, the more we create an atmosphere of pity for ourselves. Our creative spirit remains so connected to our memories of a woundedness that it cannot be about the business of transforming and manifesting. A feeling of being unworthy of receiving all that one desires is the result. Very often, the tale of woes is told in the first few moments with a sort of urgency for the listener to know how horrible the pounding wound was and still is. After a while, the ego carries this energy as a power play in individual and group situations that encourage discussions of one's struggle to survive the wounding. This can keep individuals from advancing spiritually and can reinforce the image of themselves as unfortunate. The tendency to bond with the wounds of our lives reminds us of how unworthy we are of receiving anything that we really would like because we remain in a state of suffering. The more these painful stories are recalled and repeated, the more the person is guaranteed of not attracting his or her desires. Perhaps the most powerful sentence you can memorize in this regard is your biography becomes your biology. And I would add, your biology becomes your lack of spiritual fulfillment. By hanging on to the traumas of your earlier life, you literally have an impact on the cells of your body. When you examine the biology of an individual, we find that his or her biography is close to the surface. Thoughts of anguish, self-pity, fear, hate, and the like all take their toll on the body and the spirit. After a while, the body is unable to heal, largely because of these thoughts. Attachment to early pain comes from a mythological perception of, I am entitled to a perfect, pain-free childhood. Anything that interferes with this perception, I will use for the rest of my life. Telling my story will be my power. What the perception does is give an injured child inside you permission to control you for the rest of your life. Moreover, it provides a strong sense of illusory power. The moment anyone stands up to you or crosses you or even disagrees with you, the injury is brought forth with accusations of insensitivity concerning the other's treatment of you. This power is empty, however, because it continuously reinforces the idea that you are not worthy of being free from these events. The unworthiness then inhibits you from attracting to yourself the love, kindness, and abundance that is the universe. This is not to say that one ought not to deal with traumas and help them to heal, but it is to say that one must be very careful to avoid explaining present life in terms of traumatic history. The painful events in our lives are like a raft you use to cross the river. You must remember to get off on the other side. Notice your body when it is wounded. An open wound actually closes quite quickly. Just imagine what it would be like if that wound remained open for a long time. It would become infected and ultimately would kill the entire organism. The closing up of a wound and allowing it to heal can work the same way in your inner world of thoughts. So don't lead with your injuries, deal with them, and ask family and friends to be compassionate while you are grieving or recuperating. Then ask them to kindly remind you when it has taken on the form of a predictable response. Perhaps 4 or 5 times, your friends and loved ones will say, "You did suffer a tragic experience, and I can truly empathize with you and your need to discuss it. I care, and I'll listen and offer if that is what you want." Then, after several such interchanges, ask your friends to gently remind you to not repeat the story for the purpose of gaining power through pity. When you go backward and continuously relive your pain, including describing it in most introductions and labeling yourself incest, survivor, alcoholic, orphan, abandoned, you do not do so for strength. You do it for your inner experience of bitterness. This bitterness allows itself in hatred and anger as you discuss these events, and you are literally feeding the cell tissue of your life from this harvest of past events. This continues to infect the body and prevent healing. And so it is with the spirit. This harvest of bitterness keeps you from feeling worthy. You begin to cultivate an image of being dirty, unlucky, unworthy, and maligned, and this is what you send out into the universe, which will inhibit any sense of attracting love and bliss into your life. The way out of bonding to your wounds is through forgiveness. Forgiveness is the most powerful thing you can do for your physiology and your spirituality. And it remains one of the least attractive things to us, largely because our egos rule so unequivocally. To forgive is somehow associated with saying that all is all right, that we accept the evil deed. But this is not forgiveness. Forgiveness means that you will fill yourself with love and you radiate that love outward and refuse to hang on to the venom or hatred that was engendered by the behaviors that caused the wounds. Forgiveness is a spiritual act of love for yourself, and it sends a message to everyone, including yourself, that you are an object of love and that is what you are going to impart. This is the process of unbonding from those wounds and no longer hanging on to them as prized possessions. It means letting go of the language of blame and self-pity and no longer leading with one's wounds and injuries from the past. It means privately forgiving and not asking anyone else to understand. It means leaving behind the eye for eye attitude that only makes for more pain and the need for revenge and replaces it with an attitude of love and forgiveness. The spiritual literature available to us from all religious persuasions honor this way. Feeling worthy is essential to being able to attract to yourself what you desire. It is simply a matter of common sense. If you don't feel that you deserve something, then why would the divine energy that is that is in all things, send it your way. Thus, you must shift to knowing that you and the divine energy are one and the same, and that it is your ego that is coming to keep you from knowing the power of this in your own life. This is a passage from Manifest Your Destiny, the 9 Spiritual Principles of Getting Everything You Want by Dr. Wayne W. Dyer. This passage is from page 83 to page 86. I do intend that this passage was helpful for you, and I do thank you for tuning in to Passages 22 YouTube channel, and I do hope that we will cross paths again soon.